Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is the latest Dragon Ball Z video game, which follows the story of Goku as his brother Raditz comes to Earth. He's a Saiyan, fights a dude named Frieza, Cell comes in, boo, yada yada yada, you know the story, let's rewind. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is the latest Dragon Ball Z video game. It is a 3D action RPG in which you play as Goku, but also Vegeta, also Gohan, and even sometimes Piccolo. The main objective of this game is to play through the Dragon Ball story in a massive, almost open world. There are many side quests and other mechanics of this game like cooking, driving, fishing, playing baseball, and a lot more. Overall, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was hyped up to be the greatest Dragon Ball Z game to date. Imagine Legacy of Goku but 3D, the next big Dragon Ball Z game. Better than Dragon Ball Sagas. That's impossible, but Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was hyped up to be a huge Dragon Ball Z game. So, what went wrong? Like I said, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was hyped up to be the biggest Dragon Ball Z game of all time, if not one of them, but something fell short with it. And to understand what's really wrong with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, we have to go back to the start. So let's rewind. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is the latest Dragon Ball Z video game, which follows the story of Goku as his brother Raditz comes to Earth. He's a Saiyan, fights a dude named Frieza, Cell comes in, boo, yada yada yada, you know the story, and that is where the problems begin. A few months back, I made a video where I discussed the problem with Dragon Ball games, and to summarize, it was that every single Dragon Ball game typically followed the same format in one way or another. It was a Dragon Ball game where you would fight your way through the Dragon Ball story in some way, shape, or form. And of course, there are Dragon Ball games that add a refreshing twist to this story, and there are Dragon Ball games that don't particularly follow this story. Fighters is a great example as you play through new story modes that are unique to the game in itself, but the majority of Dragon Ball games follow the same structure. Raditz, Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, and I get it, it's a Dragon Ball game. You don't expect to fight Raditz and then fight Bowser and then fight Naruto. No, if you're playing a Dragon Ball game, you're going to be playing the Dragon Ball story. But the issue with this is the repetitive format that can make games feel blended together. Besides a few unique features here and there, for example Xenoverse with their time traveling shit, Legacy of Goku with the top-down action RPG features, and some other games here that sort of twist the genre a little bit, a majority of Dragon Ball games at their very core feel like the same game over and over again. So, where does Dragon Ball Z Kakarot fit into all of this? When Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was announced, we received this trailer. Even though the gameplay wasn't really shown in this trailer, we knew right away that this was going to be the Dragon Ball game that we've all wanted. An open world 3D Dragon Ball game, Legacy of Goku, but 3D. A game where you can roam around and truly experience the Dragon Ball Z story as if you were in the Dragon Ball universe. But even though this was an anticipated game, there is one thing that fans couldn't shake. I'm so sick of just Z era games. Can't wait to fight Raditz, Nappa, Cell, Frieza, and Boo again for the 20th time. At this point, we've seen Correct. We just received a new trailer for a huge new Dragon Ball game, but the main issue with the game was already relevant. It still just follows the story of Z. Raditz, Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, bibbidi bubbidi boo, same old stuff. As time went by and the game slowly began to unveil itself, the hype for this game continued to rise. You can drive cars, you can play baseball, you can roam freely around, you can fly, you can play as Badman Vegeta. The hype continued to rise all the way until the release of the game, the 17th of January 2020. The game was finally out, everyone was super excited to play, and the negative side outlook that this game was just another retelling of the Dragon Ball Z story began to slowly fade away. People were no longer worried about the story, they just wanted to play this game, you know, an open world Dragon Ball Z game. Sick! And like I said, the Dragon Ball Z story issue began to fade away, until, well, we actually played the game. This video isn't going to be a full review per se of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot as itself. I mean, I'm probably not going to do a video review of the game itself. Why would I do a review? Who do you think I am, IGN? But here's what I initially thought of the game. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot starts you off in a training battle with Piccolo. This is a simple tutorial mode in which you learn the combat system. Overall, the combat system is okay, I suppose. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I know a fair few people have issues with the combat system, saying it's a recycled version of the Xenoverse combat system, but honestly, it's an action RPG, not a fighting game, so I think the combat system works quite well here. I mean, if it was turn-based, then I might have an issue with it, but the fact that it's got action RPG elements makes it quite bearable. In fact, yeah, I like it. It's fun. Once you defeat Piccolo, the story begins. Now here's one of the main things that I first noticed with this game. Holy shit, there are so many cutscenes. Now I'm not going to complain too much about the cutscenes because I get it. There may be new players that aren't familiar with the series that need the story recap. It's nice as a refresher, but god damn, there were so many cutscenes. After the first cutscene, you finally get to the part that we've all been waiting for, the open world gameplay. Now I'm not going to be taking anything away from what is, in my opinion, the most impressive part of the game, the graphics. This game looks incredible. The terrain, landscapes, environments, even the characters look awesome. It's not too realistic. It actually feels like and looks like a Dragon Ball game. The character movement felt awesome too. You could run fast, jump high. You felt like you were a Dragon Ball character. Overall, with a decent combat system, nice looking graphics, and awesome character mechanics, the game seemed pretty fun. It seemed pretty good. But what was the problem with it? The game just didn't feel like the open world epic we were all expecting. Let's take a look at a classic open world game, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. From the start of this game, even though there is a story and a structure to follow, and you do have guidelines to follow to progress in the game itself, you can pretty much do almost anything straight off the bat. Sure, you can get on your bicycle and follow what the story wants you to do, but you can also turn around, you can explore the entire world, run off track from your mission, do basically whatever you want. It is a true open world game. Whereas with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, even though it may seem presented as an open world game, the limitations are set in place straight away. No, follow Gohan. No, go this way. No, you can't jump over this mountain. You're Goku. Why would you be able to jump over a mountain as Goku? Well, that's ridiculous. In terms of comparing the open world experience to other Dragon Ball games in the past that attempt it, like Dragon Ball Sagas, it is phenomenal. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, compared to other Dragon Ball games that have an open world experience, like I said, is phenomenal. But what most thought was going to be a true Dragon Ball open world experience turned out to only be a little bit of an open world experience. Anyway, moving on. When I first played this game, I recorded my initial thoughts. If you're interested, you can check the video out. It is the video prior to this one. Subscribe if you're new to the channel while you're at it, and turn on the notification bell for Dragon Ball gaming content. I'm joking, guys, but for real, who else plays Vegeta card on their channel? Anyway, in my initial playthrough, when I was just mindlessly commentating over the Piccolo versus Raditz fight, I realized something that the game was missing. Now, it may seem like a far-fetch, and it may have just gone under the radar with my over commentary of this epic fight. Guard, you prick. Much like every Dragon Ball game before, you fight Raditz and then Nappa and Vegeta, so on and so forth. The story always remains the same. No matter the outcome of a fight, you always know what is going to happen next. There wasn't any actual game-changing consequences. Sure, I could lose to Raditz right now and probably have to do the fight again, but even if I win, I'm not going to actually beat Raditz. He's going to fly away, and then I'll have to go fight him as Goku, and so on. For a game that was hyped up to be a massive open world-ish 3D action RPG Dragon Ball game, the concept of having no true consequences whether you win or lose a fight made the game feel restricted. Of course, they're not going to program thousands of different outcomes depending on whether Piccolo beats Raditz, or Yamcha beats a Cyberman, or Yamcha beats Vegeta, Yamcha beats Frieza, Yamcha beats Jiren. It's not going to happen. But for the huge game that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was supposed to be, it sure did feel restricted in terms of story. Mix this factor with the reusage of the Dragon Ball Z story that fans were initially worried about, and you have the turning point for what went wrong with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But how can it be fixed? Before you guys hate me for having a small opinion on this game, I want to make this very clear. I actually like the game. Despite me having very minor issues with it, I still believe it to be one of the best Dragon Ball games out there, and it could be one of the best Dragon Ball games of all time. Amazing graphics, awesome player control, fun combat, a great approach. These are all relevant achievements the game possesses. But how do we fix the restricted story issue? Well, it's simple, in two different ways. Firstly, make the game go beyond Z. This game covers the Saiyan saga all the way through to the Buu saga, with small side stories in between, but let it go beyond Z. Add some DLC, add some updates. We want to see the story of Beerus, Frieza's resurrection, the Universe 6 tournament, the Goku Black Arc, the Tournament of Power, Broly, Moro, heck, GT. That would be fun. Go back in time, play the Dragon Ball story again. That would be fun too. Now that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is released, keep it around for a few years and update it. You've got the perfect foundations to work with, so let's work with them. This would allow fans to experience something new instead of the same recycled Z story again and again and again. Why should we play all the way through to the Buu saga and that's it? I wouldn't mind playing all the way through to the Buu saga if Beerus was around the corner, or other stories that we haven't quite got the experience of playing yet in Dragon Ball Z games. And how do we fix the issue of knowing what's next all the time with no consequences? Simple, original stories. Now, I'm not going to shoot my ideas for original stories because we've all seen my Dragon Ball Super theories.
What if Frieza's Jiren's sister?
But some original stories would make this game a whole lot more fun. The mechanics are there, the gameplay is there, the graphics are there. This game is pretty damn good. We just need the story to catch up. That is what I think is wrong with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Now, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think I'm wrong about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Let me know in the comments. Would you like to see something added to this game? If so, let me know in the comments. Do you also think Frieza is Jiren's sister? Let me know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, of course. If you'd like to see my original Let's Play of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the first time I ever played, my first reaction, you can click the video there on the left. And if you want to see what happens when I try buying Dragon Ball Z Kakarot online from a scammer, you can click the video there on the right. And if you want to subscribe, you can click on my icon in the middle. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it. Peace.